more sunrise," Lucy whispered, her voice trembling, as she stroked the graying fur of the dog who had been with her through every joy, every heartache, every chapter of her life. Sam's once bright eyes flickered weakly, and the morning sun bathed them both in a golden light. It was as if the world had paused to witness the quiet end of a love that had never asked for anything in return. Lucy had given him everything, her heart, her soul, her laughter, and now, in the stillness of this final moment, she had to let him go. The first time the sun kissed the earth was on a chilly September morning. It wasn't dramatic or bright. It was gentle. The light spread slowly over the horizon, painting the sky in hues of pink and lavender. Lucy sat on the porch steps, a mug of coffee warming her hands, watching as the day began its quiet rise. Beside her, Sam rested his weary head on her knee. Sam was old now. His fur had once been a rich chestnut, but now it was graying at the edges, thinning in places where age had worn it down. His once strong legs now moved with a limp, but his eyes, those deep, trusting brown eyes, still sparkled with the same energy he'd had when he was just a puppy, when he bounded through the grass like it was the first time he'd ever seen the world. She ran her fingers through his soft fur, remembering the day she found him. It had been a rainy afternoon. Lucy had been 17, freshly out of high school and unsure of where life was taking her. Her mother had just passed away, and her father had become a shadow of the man he once was. Their house, once a place filled with laughter and love, had turned cold and empty. She didn't know what to do with herself, wandering aimlessly through the house like a ghost. It was then that she heard the soft whimpering from outside. When she opened the door, there he was, a tiny, scruffy puppy, drenched and shaking. His eyes were full of fear, but even then, they held an undeniable spark of hope. Lucy scooped him up, feeling the pulse of life beat in his chest, and she knew in that moment that she wasn't alone anymore. "You're my boy now," she whispered as she tucked him into her coat, and from that moment forward Sam had been hers. They grew up together, Lucy and Sam. He was there when she left for college, there when she came home in tears after her first heartbreak, there when she got her first job, and there when she met Ben, the man who would become her husband. He was there for everything, through every laugh, every tear, and every change. But now at 14 years old, Sam was showing signs of his age. He was slowing down. His joints ached. His once sharp hearing had dulled, and Lucy could tell that he was feeling the weight of time pressing on him. But this morning, as the sun crept over the horizon, it felt different. She could feel it in the way the air felt heavier, in the way Sam's breathing had become shallow. It was as if the universe had paused for a moment to say, "This is it. One more sunrise." "Hey, buddy," Lucy whispered, her voice thick with emotion. "Do you remember the first time we watched the sunrise together?" Sam's ears perked up slightly, and his eyes turned toward her as if acknowledging the question. She smiled softly. "You were so little," she said, her voice breaking slightly. "You used to try and chase the sun as it rose, running in circles like a little madman." Sam lifted his head slightly, his tail giving a slow wag, as if in agreement. Lucy chuckled through the tears that threatened to spill. It wasn't just the memories that made this moment so powerful. It was the understanding, the knowledge that time had caught up to them. Sam's life had been full of love, full of loyalty, full of joy. But now the time had come for her to let him go. As she sat there stroking his fur, the weight of their shared life together pressed on her chest like a heavy stone. How do you say goodbye to a friend like that? A friend who had seen you at your best and worst. A friend who had loved you unconditionally without question. I don't know what I'm going to do without you, Sam, she whispered, her voice barely audible. But Sam didn't need to answer. He'd always known how to comfort her without words. He nudged his head into her lap, curling up as close as he could as if to say, I'm right here. The sun had risen fully now, casting long shadows across the yard, but Lucy felt like she was the only one in the world. Time felt like it had slowed. All she could hear was the soft rhythm of Sam's breathing and the occasional rustle of the wind through the trees. Ben came out on the porch, his face soft and tired from lack of sleep, and sat down beside Lucy. He reached for her hand, giving it a gentle squeeze. He knew what this moment meant. He had seen Lucy's love for Sam, felt the depth of their bond. One more sunrise, Ben said quietly, his voice full of tenderness. Lucy nodded, unable to speak. She felt as though she had to hold on to this moment, to savor it because she knew there would never be another one like it. They sat in silence for a long time, watching the day unfold in front of them, as Sam dozed peacefully in Lucy's lap. The sunlight shifted, painting everything in gold and amber hues, and for a while it felt like nothing could change, like the world was still the way it always had been. But the truth was unavoidable. Sam's time was coming. They had shared so many sunrises together, but soon there would be no more. As the morning wore on, Sam shifted slightly, his breathing becoming more labored. Lucy's heart tightened in her chest. Sam, she whispered, her voice thick. Are you ready? His eyes met hers, deep and wise, and he gave one last, soft wag of his tail. His head rested back into her lap, and Lucy could feel the weight of his body growing heavier with each passing moment. Thank you, she whispered, for everything. You made my life better just by being in it. With that, Sam let out a soft sigh, his body relaxing into her touch as if he was finally at peace. His breathing slowed, and in that stillness, Lucy knew he was gone. She closed her eyes, holding him close, allowing the weight of their final moment to settle over her. Tears fell freely down her face, but she didn't care. She was mourning the loss of more than just a dog. She was mourning the loss of a companion, a protector, a piece of her heart. Ben stood up quietly, moving behind her, and placed a hand on her shoulder. There was nothing more he could say. Lucy didn't need words. She just needed to hold on to the love that had been and always would be between them. For hours they sat together in the silence, the sunlight warming them, until finally, Lucy stood. She gently lifted Sam's body in her arms and walked inside, knowing it was time to say goodbye, even though her heart felt like it would break in two. That night, they buried Sam in the backyard, beneath the old oak tree where they had spent so many days together. Lucy had always promised him that he would never be alone, and now, he wouldn't be. She placed a small wooden plaque at the foot of the tree, engraved with the words, "One more sunrise, and you gave me a lifetime of love." The next morning, as the sun rose again, Lucy stood by the window, looking out at the empty yard. The pain of loss was sharp, but the memories, those beautiful memories, kept her going. She could still hear Sam's soft, steady breathing in her heart, feel the warmth of his love wrapped around her like a blanket. And though she would never see him again in the flesh, she knew that one day, when her time came, Sam would be waiting for her. Together, they would watch another sunrise. And as the sun sank behind the trees, Lucy whispered one final goodbye, her voice carried by the wind, as if the universe itself had accepted the bid. The love they shared, irreplaceable, priceless, was no longer bound by time but by memory, and it would be theirs forever beyond any auction's call.